Yo, so what's going on, Pwn's Army? It is Pwn, and how's everybody doing today? What's my battlefielders been up to? Oh, me? I just been completely trolling everybody. For example, this gameplay, I think we were on a German server, and I get in here, I get a kill with the SV98, and I get killed instantly. So apparently in this server, you're not allowed to use recon. You can't use the M40, you can't basically use the recon class, because you get killed for it, and warning, you could possibly be banned. So, of course, you're telling Pwnstar, you know, Mr. Aggressive Recon over here, that I cannot do something. M16's fair game. The AEK can still go on. But when it comes down to using a recon, by golly, and I don't know if it's because they wanted to stop people from camping in spawn, but I thought it's a little kind of fucked up and to separate an entire class from playing, you know what I mean? So, of course, I did the next best thing. I pulled out the 870 with slugs, and I put the rifle scope on that bitch, and I start taking these guys' butt cherries, like just straight up scrumptious, nom-nomming them. And these guys get worked pretty hard. Hopefully you enjoy the gameplay. There's a couple montage clips in it, but that's not why we're here. I want to actually talk to you guys about what's sexy in sports. Now, this kind of was like fueled about, I'd say about a couple weeks ago when the Olympics were on. You see a lot of advertisements. You see, you know, whether or not you're eating at a restaurant, you're seeing it on the tube, you're watching television, and you see, you know, a half-naked Michael Phelps laying in the water like, ooh, and he's giving you that size 16 head, and he's giving you the look like the take me, you know. They try to sell sex with a lot of these sports, so I wanted to ask you guys, honestly, and kind of dissect this a little bit, what sports are sexy? And I think part of it is you don't see too many of the female ones because there are not really any dominant female sports that you know of. Like, and I think it's because the lack of popularity. There may be some extremely attractive, sexy women out there in all kinds of different categories in sports, but we don't know about them, probably because they're not popular. A lot of men do not watch female sports. So I think that's kind of it. So if we take the media aspect out of it and we actually talk about what we think is sexy, let's try to run this down and rub it down. And we're going to start off right off the bat, and we're going to talk about bowling. And I don't know if you guys watch bowling. Some of you guys may not even consider it a sport. But I've been watching bowling here and there. I used to do that after my bad car accident a few years back, after I had to stop playing, you know, basketball, football, so on and so forth. I went to bowling. And I was actually pretty solid at it. I love bowling. And there were a few girls that played there, and then even more so, there's a lot of popular girls coming up in the community. Some of the best bowlers in the world actually, you know, are married, and the wives actually compete in these too. So as it goes on, women are kind of establishing themselves a little bit more in a lot of these sports that men have been, you know, basically running down for, you know, 50, 100 years. And they're coming in, and they're actually holding their own, which I think is quite impressive in its own feat. And you see a lot of that. Now think about this. I mean, is a woman coming in, you know, completely coming over and dominating a sport sexy? I mean, some guys think that's just wrong. It's you know, some sports I think are too masculine. And what the fuck, hit detection, bro? And that's just kind of where we stand with that. So bowling, I think, with a woman to come out of nowhere, hold her composure, I could see bowling be sexy. I mean, you see a woman, imagine you were sitting on the bench and she has to bend down and walk up there. You're watching the walk away, okay? Huh? How about that? What? You're waiting on her, just with her hand down there on the ball, waiting on it to come back, and you're sitting there like, yeah, I like that. I mean, bowling could be sexy. I don't think it's one of those sports where you see a lot of young men in it taking it over. You see a lot of overweight guys. So I guess in the media aspect, bowling is not very attractive at all. It's really not. And I wanted to hop into the next one. This is volleyball. You see a lot of this, and it's very, very popular. I'd say it's just equally as popular. It's one of those few sports where the women's side is as known as popular as the male side. Volleyball, I think, is one of the sexiest sports out there. You got a bunch of half-naked people jumping around. I mean, you see how limber they are, how dominant and controlled they can be, and I think it's incredible. You got famous people, you know, doing all kinds of things, whether or not, you know, they're men or female. And they're all half naked. Everybody's happy there. I think volleyball is an extremely sexy sport. It takes a lot of composure. It takes a lot of skill to do what they do. You got to be very, very extremely fit. And it's just the talent in somebody to do something like volleyball. I mean, you see some short people out there just taking that shit down, and it's incredible. So I think volleyball is a sexy sport. Now, one that I think is going to shock you guys, and this is going to be weird because you guys are like, what? There's like, you can't even see them. I think fencing is sexy. I'd never watched fencing. I just thought it was some fairy sport before I watched it in the Olympics. And fencing to me was like, I was like turned on, man. I was like, my God. And then I started watching the women do it, and they're going at it, and it's just, I thought it was extremely entertaining because it takes a lot of patience, a lot of control, a lot of outthinking. And any woman that can be smart but still use her body and, you know, just thrust herself forward and everything like that, or any guy that can do that, use his, wingspan in his arms and try to lure people in, man. I thought it was hot. I mean, I know they're in entire giant full ghost uniforms, but there's really no skin to see, but I think just the way they handle themselves is kind of sexy to me. I mean, sexy can be so many different things, guys. And this is just my opinion. I don't know. I see a girl that fences, and she could parry my platypus, if you know what I'm saying. And I thought it was extremely entertaining. Now, let's get into one that I really do not like. Now, this is baseball. A lot of guys like this, and I can understand, college girls and softball and stuff like this. It can be hot. But I don't find baseball fun or entertaining to watch. Therefore, I don't think it could be sexy in my mind. I know I'm going to piss a lot of people off, but I absolutely can't stand baseball. I don't know how it is to play. I can't judge it in playing or fun aspect, but to watch, it's not entertaining to me. So, I understand that there are a lot of popular college girls out there that play this. It's really, really popular. My wife did it for a little bit. Her sister did it for a little bit. And it's really one of those sports that's opening up, especially here in the U.S. Soccer, football, not football, but soccer. I meant soccer as in football. A lot of those things are getting more popular, and I think baseball and softball could be a sexy sport. I mean, you got a lot of those guys, those professional baseball players that model and do stuff like that. So I think it is becoming somewhat of a sexy sport, but I also think it's kind of boring, so I'm just kind of stuck there a little bit. Now let's talk about a really, really kind of popular one. This is one that's really dominant. I mean, not a lot of people, not a lot of youngsters watch this, but tennis. My God, is tennis sexy. Some of the most attractive women in the world have done this kind of stuff. You got Sharapova, on, and they all have to wear those little tiny skirts. If you go and type in, like in Yahoo or Google, you type, ass shot or celebrity boob slip or something like that. Most of them are from the women that are diving back and forth on the tennis court. You've seen enough of Serena Williams to last you a lifetime. You know what I mean? It's just kind of how it is. Not to mention, just go in there, go watch a video of tennis, speed it up, like 10 times faster than it is. Every time somebody hits the ball, they grunt and moan. So if you sped that up, you'd be like, that's basically all you'd hear. So, I mean, despite anyone who wants to argue that, I think tennis is sexy. I used to play tennis, and it takes a lot of skill to master, control the ball. Ball control is extremely, extremely necessary, whether or not you're a guy or girl. Take that any way you want. Now, another one, and this may seem weird. This is one where I think a lot of guys are going to disagree with, and maybe the women can tell me this, because I know a lot of women, like my mom, loves a lot of strong-built guys, but she hates the idea between UFC and MMA. And there are a lot of attractive women coming up in that. And everybody's like, oh my God, half-naked women just, strapping up, ready to go into it. And, the women themselves can be sexy, but is it sexy to know that there's a woman out there that can put the hands on you? You know what I mean? I'm submissive. I'm willing to let my wife win the arguments. You know how guys and marriages and everything are. But I don't think there's really a choice if you're dating an MMA person or if you're attracted to an MMA, fighter. If she's a woman or a man, you can't disagree with them. I can't fucking do that. It's not going to happen. So that's one of those sports that, they're built, they're fit, there's something appealing about them because, they're badasses, but at the same time, you don't want to fuck up ever. And I think that's kind of funny. And then golf is coming over. Have you seen Tiger Woods? What's it? His niece or something? My God. And I don't know. I think sex is starting to sell a little more in sports. They're letting women come in and out, and I think it's extremely entertaining. One that I really like is soccer. That's one of the first times I ever saw Amanda is when she played soccer, and I thought it was extremely attractive to see her out there, see her focused and determined and chasing balls. And I thought it was one of the sexiest things I've ever seen, especially when it's somebody you know. I mean, it may be differently sitting out, but it's somebody that I was initially attracted to, and then watching her put in her all and really, really get aggressive out there. I don't know, something about me. I'm not one of those people that like, say, submissive woman, like do whatever you want to me. I like somebody that can be willing to take charge when need be and be aggressive. And that's one of those sports that takes a lot of stamina, a lot of control, a lot of balance, a lot of thinking, and soccer, aka football, if you will, is one of those sports that really shows what a person is capable of. And I absolutely love that kind of stuff. So let me know what you guys think down below, guys. What sports are sexy? And I know it sounds weird. It's kind of hard to, deflect and put away, but, every sport can be sexy in a way. Every person, there could be a spokesperson or a really attractive person in the sport that's sexy, but there's some sports that you look at and you're like, that's hot that they can do that, or my God, she's flexible, gymnasts and stuff. Yeah, I mean, dancers. But I'm going to leave that out there, so let me know what you guys think. If you guys watching the Olympics, or there's sports that you watch, or, you watch the opposite sex play, soccer or something like this, let me know what you guys think. Let me know, honestly, deep down, which sports do you think are sexy, and which ones do you like, oh my God, it's kind of a turn-off. Let me know what you guys think, guys. Peace out. Get it?